former Kenya Technical, Technical University of Kenya, the former Kenya Polytechnic. The Vice Chancellor, when speaking to the committee, was speaking to the horrible quotas that students are having to go through. And these students, Honorable Speaker, are our own sons and daughters who come from our villages, our own constituents, who come probably from very decent homes. But a student from Siaya, for instance, who has no other relative in Nairobi, is admitted to the Technical University of Kenya and has no other source of accommodation other than going to get some shack on a road reserve in South B, Honorable Speaker, with no sanitation at all. That student will not even have the dignity to live in a good city like Nairobi, and even will not be able to perform well in school, whereas my child and your child, Honorable Junet, they will be able to move from our houses in Lavington and Karen and be able to commute every day. On the back left of our V8, dropped at Technical University and back home, we have an opportunity now to make sure that that child who comes from Suna East has affordable accommodation in Nairobi through the institutional housing. We must give an opportunity. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Junet says he lives in South B, not in Lavington. And he knows I know him, and he knows me. Honorable Speaker, I was speaking to not to Honorable Junet, but to that Suna East constituent, who will come from Suna East, have an opportunity through institutional housing to get decent student accommodation that has been developed under this program. That child will be able to graduate from the Technical University of Nairobi University, or whichever university in the city, and be able to access social housing and buy a studio unit or a one-bedroom unit in South B, South C, or in Pangani, or even in Kikuyu, and become not just a house owner, but now a person who is living in a dignified house and a person who can begin to build his own wealth rather than imagining how they'll go back to the village, subdivide their land, and build on a 40 by 50 or 40 by 100 plot. Honorable Speaker, I know I could belabor so many points on this bill, but I want to say this bill, Honorable Speaker, gives us that opportunity that we have all been yearning for. That opportunity not just to provide affordable, decent housing to millions of Kenyans who lack, in line with Article 43 of our Constitution, but an opportunity, Honorable Speaker, more importantly, to create millions of jobs. Jobs from engineering, architecture, legal, those in the legal profession, accountants, quantity surveyors, land surveyors, Honorable Speaker, drivers, earth movers, operators, Honorable Speaker, and also to grow our economy in a big way through urbanization. Honorable Speaker, a population of 2,000, 3,000 houses, people coming to be housed in a project of 700 houses, or 1,000 houses that will probably accommodate 3,000, 4,000 people. That population itself is an opportunity for new markets, Honorable Speaker. It is that urbanization that helps economies grow. It is those opportunities that we must look at. I know there is a temptation, Honorable Speaker, to speak to what is popular to the middle class, to speak to what we think we are speaking to the gallery, to those who have access to our TV stations, Honorable Speaker. It is very tempting, Honorable Speaker, to speak to the less than 10% of our population today who today have a pay slip. But let us have the heart to speak for another close to 40 million Kenyans who have no access to job opportunities today. Those job opportunities lie in this bill, Honorable Speaker. Those job opportunities, Honorable Speaker, outweigh the political expediency that we have seen in those who critique this bill, Honorable Speaker. I am happy, Honorable Speaker, 3 weeks ago, I listened to our good friend, the former Prime Minister, Honorable Raila Odinga, contend that indeed in the Azimio manifesto, they had this levy at 1.5%, Honorable Speaker. Contend that it was during his time as Minister for Public Works, Housing and Roads that the housing agenda in this country was conceived. Honorable Speaker, I've also had occasion to listen to President William Ruto say that what bedevils our country is, one, corruption, vested interests, especially amongst our leadership, Honorable Speaker, and laziness. Honorable Speaker, especially in leadership. We must thank God that today the leadership in this country neither has vested interests in the running and management of government, that the leadership in this country today is determined, Honorable Speaker, to make the tough choices and make the hard decisions that will change this country for good. Part of that work to changing this country for good in the actualization of this housing agenda. And we are all agreed, Honorable Speaker, including those of us in the opposition. That is why the leader of the opposition, His Excellency Raila Odinga, contends that housing as an agenda is something that this country must actualize, because we are 20 years late. If we are to count from the time Raila Odinga was Minister for Housing, I think it's more than 20 years ago. And that tells you what vested interests in government have done, the disservice they have done to our country, Honorable Speaker. It tells you how late we are in actualizing this agenda. And it tells us the urgency in enacting this bill today, having a new Housing Fund Act, Honorable Speaker, that will create that legal framework to actualize the housing agenda for this great country. Honorable Speaker, with those very many remarks, I beg to move, and I want to urge all of us, Honorable Speaker, as we contribute, as we critique, as we add our ideas